Hello, everyone. You are welcome to Life Clinic Podcast 2024 interview series. I hope you are all excited to be here. I personally am excited, super excited to be here, and much more excited seeing the new year, right? I believe we're all excited to see the new year because this year is loaded with opportunities. This year is loaded with growth. And here at Life Clinic, we are set to ensure that in all aspects of your life, you are growing, whether in your personal life or personally, everything that relates to you, or professionally or career wise, we want to ensure that we feed you with the necessary information. I love a quote by Dr. Miles Muro. He said, the challenge, the problem of every developing nation the problem of every developing nation is ignorance. All right, is ignorance. And the solution to it is knowledge, information, and training. Knowledge, information, and training. You know, those three things are even different. All right, they may look alike, but training is something because training helps us in renewing our mind, in truly becoming what we really are. And that is what we are set to do here. So at Life Clinic, one of our three watchword is that you are here to discover, you are here to learn, and you are here to grow. And in the studio today, I have my guest with me. He's a very wonderful person. For some of us that we've been watching this live production on Facebook, you will have seen that we invited him last year, and we spoke extensively on faith and faith. Faith and faith. I believe that video is here on YouTube, so you can actually check it out and learn from his profound insight, right? But before I bring him up and we begin to launch into the discussion of today, I prepared a brief introduction, just like I do with all my guests, and I hope, just like I always hope, that my presentation will not murder his name. All right. I remember the first guest I produced this was said the presentation murdered his name, but the second guest affirmed that it's because the second guest was an English major, right? And then I was very careful with my tenses, and I ensured that I was speaking phonetics, so that the Englishman will not say, "Oh, come on, what are you saying here?" All right. So after I push this up, I will hear his comment about especially the pronunciation of his name, and then we'll go from there.
Today, we are honored to welcome Pastor Tolase Afolabi to Life Clinic Podcast Interview Series 2024. Pastor Tolase is not just a man of God, he embodies a vibrant spirit, characterized by a special grace for organization, excellence, and growth. His remarkable track record of God-inspired results stands as a testament to the profound blessing of consistent advancement in his life. As the lead pastor of the Light Tribe, Pastor Tolase guides a fast-growing community of thoughtful leaders, graced individuals, and world changers. His teachings are a blend of simplicity and profound instruction, reflecting his deep connection with divine wisdom. The weightiness of the divine anointing upon his life is undeniable, making him a beacon of inspiration for those seeking spiritual, professional and personal growth. Tolase Afolabi, as he is known on social media, at Tolase Afolabi, also wears the hat of a principal at Quiller Innovations, showcasing his versatility and commitment to making a positive impact in various spheres. Don't forget to explore his insights further in his book, Unleash the Power of Your Inborn Potential. Welcome, Pastor Tolase Afolabi, to Life Clinic Podcast Interview Series.
All right, Pastor Tolase, so I wanted to give a comment about that, whether my presenter murdered your name or...
That was really great. I was blushing. I was actually blushing hearing the beautiful things that were, displayed. Thank you, Pastor John. Thank you so very much.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We are really grateful here, and thank you for your commitment to growth. And that's majorly our discussion for today. And, a lot of people are really thinking about what to do in 2024. A lot of people have set goals and are really skeptical about the possibility of them achieving what they've set to do in 2024. So I would want to ask, what personally, because one of the things we try to do here is to relate our questions to ourselves so that people will know that we are not just here to give them 10 principles to success, as much as principles are what help us to achieve our goals, but so that they will learn from our personal experience. So I want to ask you, sir, what is your big dream or big goal in 2024? I know, sometimes when we speak personally, both of us, I'm always challenged with your somehow big, elaborate dream. And I was say, Jesus, when will I start having this massive vision? So, but I want to ask you, sir, what is your big goal for 2024?
All right. So, PJ, thank you so very much. And well, if you had asked me some point last month, that was December, I would have said that one of my major aim, the new year, is to earn a lot of money. But actually, as I reflect on how 2023 was, I have decided to trust God for a large impact in the new year. I want to be strategic and intentional about touching the lives of people. You see, I I actually feel that the most important thing for a man, the most what a man will actually leave behind after all these things is the lives that we touch. So this year, if you are listening to me, I am coming right to your doorstep. Yeah, I'm actually ready to raise 1,000 people that would, number one, discover the destinies and the purpose that God has implanted in them. Number two, be trained to become, participant in the growth of our nation and our community, our local church. And as a pastor, I feel that I've been given the platform to do that. So what I want to do this year is ministry, travel a lot, organize such a meeting like this, so we can impact more people intentionally and help them, number one, to discover their destiny and the purpose that God has placed in them. Number two, to become participants in the growth of their nation and their community. So that is my ultimate goal for this year. And as well as also building myself, because I have a dream to go back to school. So I'm going back to school this year. So I mean, those are the two things that I really desire to um to do this year. The goals I really desire 1,000 people, then going back to school. That's my major goal for this year.
Wow, thank you so much for that opening question. And I really believe that a lot of people will be challenged with that. I personally am challenged because just like you said, 1,000. My goal was is just 100. All right, right. So I was just saying, okay, this year I want to train, whether professionally, spiritually, or in personal growth. Ensure that I'm able to train. Of course, I know the impact is going to reach to thousands of people. I was saying that for myself, my YouTube page, we are going to have over 5,000 subscribers and many other things. But actively, I want to count 1, 2, 300 people that I'm working with this year. And I'm really excited about your goal. And I believe that a lot of people are already excited about it. But I understand that before you could set goals, there are some values you must have identified. So what are the values? Because despite my goal is to raise 100 youth and teenagers in professionally, spiritually, and in their personal growth, just 1,000. Some people are not seeing goals in this light. Some people are not seeing goals in this light. Some people are not seeing goals in the level of impact. So what are the values that you identify? What are the guiding principles for your own life? Over to you, sir.
All right. I feel that is a very personal question because it will have to take me back to how I actually started. Because you see, values, personal values are the things we inculcate early in our lives. Because, and especially if you are listening to me, if you're a teenager or you just enter into the adulthood, I would love you to know that if there's anything you have to be intentional about cultivating, is your own personal values. What are the things that are most important to you? What are the things that you give priority to? What are the things that guide your activities, your what are the things you are intentional about? What are the things you want to be known with? What are the things you want to be identified with? For me, if there's anything that is more important to me, it's number one, becoming all that God has created me to become. It's a value for me. It's a drive for me. I want to live a life that people can actually say, this guy actually did all that God has called him to do. And when I get to heaven, I want God to look at me and say, son, man, you did the exact thing I would have loved you to do on earth. Right. So that is my drive. That is my that is my value. That is the thing that actually moved me. This is why I wake up in the morning. This is why I sleep at night. This is why I eat. This is why I fast. This is why I pray. This is why I do every other thing I do. These are the things that guide the books I read. These are the things that guide the school I'm going back to, because I need to ensure that in my lifetime I achieve all the goal and the vision that God has placed in my heart as a person, right? So this is the most important thing that drives me. And also, I am driven, and then with compassion for people, right? I remember there was a time before we started the church. I I think I was driving to a place, and then all of a sudden I became overwhelmed seeing Nigerians suffering, struggling, trying to meet ends meet and all sort of things. I remember God speaking to me at that moment and said, son, this is what I have called you to do. Go and deliver my people from struggles. Wow, that was outstanding for me. And that moment, I caught the vision to take people out of poverty, out of struggle. I used to tell people that one of my vision in life is to end poverty. And I'm going to do that by training people to be wealthy, to have the money so that we can actually put to shame poverty, right? So that's compassion for people that struggle to meet, to meet ends meet, because I know that your provision is attached to the vision that God has given to you. Your supply is attached to the purpose that God has given to you. So if everybody walks in the direction of the things that God has placed in their heart, they would surely have enough to meet their needs. Because truly, what defines two persons, what separates two persons, it is the uniqueness in purpose, uniqueness in the solution that they bring to the world. And that's what also determine the values when it comes to monetary values that goes to them. So we can see for you now, Pastor John, what determines your monetary value are the solutions you are providing to us. So people read your books, people listen to your message, people listen to your podcast, and then you grow in the numbers, and you start earning from there. So if we can empower people in destiny, in purpose, we can empower them, you see that struggle, lack will surely reduce in our world. And that is a drive for me, the compassion. And especially for those that are in Africa, the third world nation in general. I believe I have an assignment to reach to people in Cuba, sorry, people in Madagascar, in Mauritius, in Mauritania, and every places where poverty, and especially my nation. My nation now is the number one nation, the poorest nation in the world right now, with over 140 million that are multidimensionally poor. So we've got a job to do. We've got a job to do. The compassion drives me. When I look at the world, when I look at people, I feel, my God, these people, what they just need is the wisdom, is this thing that can actually liberate them. And that's what, that those are the values that drive me. Number one, to become what that God has created me to become. Number two, compassion. So thank you, Mr. Young.
Really excited that you mentioned Nigeria because I know that yes, you are a pastor, you are also a nation builder. You speak about purpose, you speak about identity. Even your book is about the inborn potential in us. In Nigeria, we crave for success. Everybody wants to be successful, but a lot of people struggle with the fear of self-doubt. I believe that one of the challenges a lot of people have for not pursuing their purpose, even for some they don't even know it, but for some do know what this purpose is. For some they know what they ought to do, but the fear of what people will say. So I want to ask: has there been any point in your life that you've experienced self-doubt or roadblocks, and what kept you
Mm.
motivated? What
Okay.
how did you push through those areas in life?
Mm. Well,
Over to you, sir.
I feel that just as I said, at some point in our lives, everybody, including myself, would always experience fear. And actually, the separate between people that are outstanding and the people that are not, it is their ability to overcome the fears in their heart. Because the truth is,
Mm,
there will always be fear. There will always be
mm,
fear. You know, and if you overcome one, another will come. For an example,
mm,
we can trace that when you are writing common entrance, you were scared. How am I going to enter
mm,
secondary school? What kind of secondary
mm,
school are they going to put me? Am I going to get the school I really want? That fear, you overcame it because you come to that phase and then you grew to another one. Junior school, for those that want to go to school of science or you want to go to specialized school, when you're for your senior school, you have to start asking, am I going to get into this school? Am I going to, when you write your junior WAEC or whatever, am I going to achieve this thing? Then you get to senior school, and the fear is, will I pass my WAEC? Will I pass my NECO? Will I get it once and for all? I mean, and as you get that, you pass your WAEC, you will add fear again about your jam. After fear about your jam, you got a jam, you have fear again about your post jam, your post TMA. And after then, you have fear again about getting the course you want to get. After then, you have fear of finishing with first class. Then later, I think, let me just finish at all. You have fear if I'm going to finish at all. Then, after you finish at all, you have fear where they will post you for your NYC. Will they post me to my degree? Will they do this thing, do this thing? And after that, you're going to have fear. Will I get the best woman to marry? Will I get the best of the jobs? Will I do these things? Will I do those things? Life is actually, success is actually overcoming many fears. So when you overcome the fears that you are faced with at the moment, that is when you can achieve success in that, in that particular aspect of your life. So fear, as I said, is a normal thing for our lives. So overcoming fear is actually what makes up the entire composition of any successful person, you see. So as for me, I've been through several fear. The one I just told you, I've been through it. The normal fear that we have. Am I going to do this? Am I going to be successful? Am I going to have been through that? And at the fear of what will people say, man, it took a lot for me to overcome that. And I remember and for me, if you are not a believer, you have to pardon me because I cannot talk about my life without talking about what the Holy Spirit and Jesus has told me to do. I've always following the instructions and the things that I feel God is calling me to do. I remember during my during my high tea, I was still in fund level at that time. I had an inspiration to start a network of believers. I would teach them, and then I went to my fellowship president then, President Maiwa Mishore, and then I told him, I said, I would like to use our fellowship for fortnight meeting where I get to train people on spirituality, these things that we do now. And I remember he told me, no problem. Anytime I want to use it, it's okay. And then, I believe I had the influence to call people to come together. And did you even know that I went for a retreat, a personal retreat because of that? I went and I prayed, I fasted, I trusted God to empower me, as we call it, so that I can be able to drive this vision. I did everything. In the third day of my retreat, the Lord spoke to me and He told me all the amazing things, and the things that are going to happen, the testimonies and the miracles that He's going to do through that meeting. But you see, I did not even start because after the retreat, I look at my hands. I was thinner than this, and I used this is what I actually do. I'll use my these other fingers to hold my hand. I'll be like, this tiny boy. That's what I did after I translated. This tiny boy. Who's going to believe me? Who's going to tell me? He was going to say that they think that this guy they do too much, and that was why I did not start the things that God has placed in my heart. Even after all the evidence, even after all the promises, I did not even get started. And I remember what God needed to do that time was that I woke up the next morning, after a few weeks, I woke up that morning and the Lord told me, from today, I want to teach you how to walk by faith. And what happened after then? It's actually a story for another day. Because the fear of what people would say prevented me and stopped me from entering into the purpose of God for me. So I had to backdate 3 years after that. Is it 3 years? 2016, 2020, 2021, 2022. 4 years after then for me to now start that same assignment that God has told me to do. And that's the church we have today. 4 years back, 4 years after that incident. Now, what I'm saying to you today, the fear of what people will say will always be there. The fear of what people will say will always be there. But as an individual, that I understand assignment, that I understand the things that God has placed in you, you must do everything to ensure that you are not overwhelmed by this fear, because it will always be there. So I've been challenged with it. As a matter of fact, when we even started church, I had doubt. I I spoke to a mentor and I said that God will have me to do church, to do ministry. And the next question he asked me is, you know, what kind of platform? He said, you can do ministry on your WhatsApp or your Instagram, on these things. And actually, what God wanted me to do was to gather people, was to bring people. A church was to have a church. So the question was, how many persons are going to believe me? And then I remember how I was able to overcome the fear was to come into, as a matter of fact, I did not know that that was what I needed to do, because it got to the point that God needed to threaten me. God told me that time, I was on bike, and God told me, this is only reason you are living. If you do not do this, you have no reason to live. And fear literally just grips me. I felt I was going to have an accident and die from the bike. I was like, okay, God, I'm going to do it. That was the day I actually accepted to do this thing. And later I needed to realize that it doesn't matter what people say. What really matters is that I become all that God has created me to become. So, and as I told you, the value, and then as I go about and I see people struggle, and I see people, you know, struggle, and all the things that people experience all around us, I saw the bigger picture. Why has God told me to do this thing? And that helped me to overcome the fear of opinion of other people. So, you know, and I overcame the opinion of other people, and thank God I did. And so here we are today.
A lot of people will find it easy to relate with our story. So I want you to now share with us, sir, a big goal that you set recently. How did it become successful? All right, if
Okay.
you could just run up, because one thing I see, I personally, I love storytelling. And one of the things I have seen that story has done to a lot of people is that stories have made a lot of people find it easy to relate to things, right? And that's why sometimes when I ask my questions are directed towards helping people to share their own story, and that will
Yeah.
help people to put themselves in that scenario. So I want you to share with us, briefly, a powerful goal. Maybe it's a big, massive goal that you yourself you felt like, okay, will this thing really come out successful? All right. And what are those things specifically that you did to ensure that this goal became successful?
All right. So, okay, let me just backdate to the time I authored my first book, and that was the goal was to complete it in 30 days. I had a goal to complete the book in 30 days, and that was a lot for me. And I needed to adjust in many aspects of my life. I needed to, it was a lot. It was a lot for me to achieve, to complete a book in 30 days, in a month. But actually, I did it. And the book is actually available today for anybody that wants to get a copy of it. And what I did was that I broke my goals into my store. Now, you see, one of the challenge that most people have about goal is that they just create a big goal without supporting goals in achieving those goals. But what I did was I broke that 30 days into daily goal, weekly goal, and daily goal and weekly goal again. So I I would write inside my book, complete one chapter this day, complete one chapter this day. And I was intentional about staying through the goal. It was a big goal. I broke it down into daily goals. So I feel that the the challenge that most people often have is that they are excited about the ambiguity of their goal. I was talking to somebody that said, "How much do you want to make this year?" And he said he wants to make millions. I just said, millions is not a goal. How would you want to make millions? Somebody told me you want to make six 600,000 dollars. I said, "How are you going to make $600,000? Look at the reality of your life right now. Can you really make $600,000?" And I told him, okay, this is a reality now. How are you going to make this goal? Can you structure it into beats, into milestones? Okay, I'm going to make $1,000 this month. Every month, I'm going to make $1,000. And that's exactly what I did. I turned it into daily goals. And then that actually helped me to stay true. Another thing I also learned to do is that I don't have my goals in my head. I have it written down. So I have a book that I regularly write my daily goal. And for me, that I had to do a lot of things. I had to set daily goals. I had to do things that has to do with church, things that have to do with business, things that have to do with personal growth. I have to set it in daily goals. Because there are times I even forgot to call my mother for weeks. I mean, I will not remember my mom that called me say, "You've even forgotten that you have a child and you have a mother at all. You are not even calling your mother at all." So I had to make that personal, I had to make that daily goal. Okay, call mommy this day, call this person this day. And that is actually how I have learned to accomplish the goal. That's what I did. Another thing I've learned to do is that have an accountability system. So what I did was I told my mentor, I want to write this book. I'm gonna send you, I'm gonna proofread it. So I'm gonna be sending you this chapter on this day. So because I have that, that helped me to stay through the course of the writing process. It was challenging, it was difficult, it was stressful, but I stayed through it because I know that I need to send this thing to this person at this time. All right. So accountability system. And I tell somebody here, if you are here and you don't have a mentor, I feel you should get somebody that can actually watch over you and you can be accountable to. It helps you a lot. So, and as a matter of fact, too, I'm a person that when I want to do things, I tell one or two persons. And when I tell them, that keeps me on my toes. So I have friends that I communicate my goals with. I tell them, okay, these are things I want to do. I don't even know I'm going to do it. And when I talk to them and I talk, by the time I'm even talking, I'm having more idea about the goal. And then because I've already told them, I have to do that thing, right? So those are the ways I have. And if there's any other goal that I've set that I achieved, there are things that have to do with my finances. I remember last year I set a goal to make 25 million. It was a lot of money. It was really a lot of money. And then the first thing I did about making the money, of course, is to set monthly goal. I said monthly, how much am I going to make in a month to make 25 million? So I put it down. How much work I needed to do, what skills do I need to have? It was last year that I developed so many skills, challenging skills. As a matter of fact, there are people waiting for me to reach out to them as I'm talking to you. There are people online. They have been calling me as I'm on this meeting, and I'm not going to reply to the call until after this meeting. There's a staff waiting for me. I needed to expand the capacity to get more people to get into our work so that I can have enough time. If I want to make 25 million, I cannot do everything myself. How much work do I want to do to make 25 million? I need to get more people to work on board with us. Even though last year we didn't hit 25 million, but we were very close to it. So I mean, I feel that it's very important that we learn how to put our goals, our dreams into milestones. It helps us to know what next I need to do, what step do I need to take. And as you do that, you see that the goal become simpler. One of the things that also one of the mistakes we make is that our goals become overwhelming at some point. Like we become so overwhelmed by the goal. You're asking yourself, how am I really going to achieve this goal? How am I really going to get started with this step? And the truth is, as you break those things into achievable bits, you see that they become simpler to achieve, right? You want to go back to school, you want to go back to school, or you want to do a course. We all make mistakes in our life. These are the mistakes I've made in the past. There are many goals I've set that today I'm asking myself, did I really desire to achieve this goal for real? But let me not talk too much, Pastor John.
Thank you so much. Thank you so. I mean, I am really excited about what you just said now, and I'm also going to ask a question concerning that. We had a vigil overnight today at prayer room, and after we were done with the vigil, towards the end of the vigil, I was telling them, I said it's a lack of faith, and thank God you're a faith person. All right, like the person that said is going to make $600 million. All right, for some people, when you say that, how do you want to make $600 million? It will look as though that you are attacking their faith, unknown to them that it's not a matter of attacking your faith. It's just that you are not realistic, right? So I was telling them that it's a lack of faith when you receive an instruction and you are not writing it down. I said, when you go to the place of prayer, your Bible and your book should be within the place of prayer, right? So I want you to talk about, what is the process of writing? Because I believe some people that watch this video will begin to ask themselves, how do you write down your goals? I've been having problem writing down goals. What do you even write down, Seb? How do you write down your goal? Do you use maybe vision board? Do you write it in a journal? Or there are methods that, or even some people are saying, I have written down a lot of goals. Well, I will write it down and I will forget. All right. So it's like there is no point writing now. How do you write down your goals effectively?
All right. I think the fascination behind the goal is also very important. It's also a big thing that we need to note. Now, listen to somebody listening to me tonight. I mean, this morning. Listen to this. I understand that your goal needs to stretch you, but it's one of the things that makes your goal very smart. Is your goal is achievable, and it is realistic. One of the If it's the smart goal, it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be achievable, it has to be realistic, and it has to have time. So you need to get it very clearly. I have to get it straight. That don't get excessively fascinated by ambiguity of your goal. It is overwhelming. I actually have a friend that said that this year she's going to do 15 certifications. I said, 15 what? That was unrealistic. I said, how are you going to do that? What kind of course do you want to do? I said, all of these courses you are doing, you cannot even use it to apply for a job. What kind of, are you going to do one course per month? What kind of course do you want to do? Because you see, our goal have to be, it doesn't have to be ambiguous. It doesn't have to be excessively unbearable. And that is the first place you need to start from. Your goal has to be realistic. All right. Look at your current state. Look at the thing. That time, there was a year I set a goal to earn 2 million, and I later earned about close to 9 million naira. The goal was just to earn 2 million. But into the year, I expanded my capacity to earn more. I expanded my capacity for knowledge. I expanded my capacity for skill. And I actually earned more. So, but The 2 million naira was the reality of the skill I have at that time. You can grow, you can over exceed your goal, but don't get yourself overwhelmed by setting goals that are not realistic, that are not achievable based on your current state. Are you getting what I'm saying, somebody online today? So get that very clearly. Then the second thing is write your goal in the best way you can understand it. For me, this is what I do. I have a chart. So for my yearly goal, this is what I do. I have a table that I already set. What do I want to achieve? How do I want to achieve it? When do I want to achieve it? So for me, for an example of my spiritual growth, to develop a robust spiritual, prayer life. I don't want to achieve it by praying 1 hour every day. When do I want to do it? From 6 to 7 or from 5 to 6 every day. That makes your goal very simple. And as a matter of fact, everything that really works in life are actually simple. Simplicity it's a virtue that we need to know. We need to realize that we cannot let it pass. You have to ensure that your goal is as simple as possible, right? So another thing, you want to earn 2 billion. We want to earn 2 million. How do you want to earn it? What do you want to make in a month? These are the things you need to write down. So you can write to earn 2 million by December 2024, by 31st of January 2024, by earning how many 100,000, by earning 180,000 every month. And that is what makes your goal achievable. So what I do is that I have a document that I put all my goals. Then when I put all the goals in the document, I print them out. My yearly goal, I print them out. I have it on my table in the office. So I look into it. I actually do my weekly review of the goal. And I've told you that all of my goal, I put them down in bits. So daily, I know what I want to do. I achieve it. I know what I want to do in a week. I know what I want to do in a month. I achieve it. So I do my weekly evaluation of the goal. I do my monthly evaluation of the goal. Then I do my now my recommended I do quarter evaluation. Yes, so because I don't do quarter evaluation before, so now I will doing the quarter evaluation of my goal, then the half mid-year evaluation of my goal, then of course the yearly evaluation of my goal. So it's important that you know how to simplify the goal and also how to cut them down into milestones, and that helps you to achieve your goal.
Wow, this is very truly profound. Thank you so much for sharing this. I believe a lot of people that will be watching this video after now will find it much, much more simple to write down their goals and achieve their goals and make their goals very realistic. All right, using the SMART goal framework that you've just mentioned now. And let me say at this point that we are almost coming to the end of this particular production. If you have any question, please put it down in the comment box, whether you are watching it live or you are watching it after now, right? Put it on the comment box. If it's after now, I will definitely reach out to him to come and answer your question. All right. Now, so I want us to talk about habits. All right, because I don't know if goals can be achieved if habits are not cultivated, if habits are not developed. All right. And a lot of people really do not understand that habit is programmed, whether consciously or unconsciously. Somebody that is swift with courses, he might just feel that it's just like that. That is how I found myself. Oh no, it's not like you found yourself like that. It's either you grew up in a family structure, or just like Apostle Femi Lazarus will put it, in a dysfunctional home and has programmed that kind of lifestyle in you, or you just find yourself in the midst of friends that is what they do. So I want you to talk about some everyday habits that you cultivate, or just like this book. I read this book, 7 Effective Habits of, I've forgotten the title of the book. I think I've forgotten the name of the book, but it was talking about habits. So I want to talk about, habits that you cultivate that make you the best of yourself. All right.
Excellent.
That pushed you from what you were to what you are. And now you are confident. You know, you shared a story right now that years back when the Lord said you start the ministry, but you believe to yourself, you are even sure. So what are those habits that you still do till date that help you push and push yourself to what you are now and support your growth? Over to you, sir.
Well, PJ, habits is a um well, I feel that the entirety of our lives are actually the result of the things we do or the things we don't do.
Sure.
And the things we do are regularly products of our habit.
Mm.
The things that have become a part of you, the things that have become integral in you, that you cannot be without doing. So habit is a very fundamental question and is a very basic thing that anybody that would do great must put in perspective. Habit. And now, if there is any habit I've cultivated over the years, and don't say because I'm a pastor, and I'm telling you this honestly, except want me to lie to you, it is reading my Bible. It's my greatest habit. My greatest habit. And I found that that is the most profound decision I've made in my entire life, to take my Bible very seriously and read it as though that is the habit. The first habit I cultivated has helped me. So the second habit I've cultivated that have helped me is also spending time in the presence of God. For me, it's not a thing, it's an habit. I remember, in the night, my wife was awake, she was praying, and me, I was shaking my leg as well. Even though it was that I was praying, me, I was already tired, and I had to wake up because it's just an habit to cultivate the presence of God. It's an habit to cultivate. No, the second habit I've made, an habit to please God. Habit to please God. I want to do everything that God is going to be proud about. I don't like my clients being angry with me. I don't like people telling me that I say a thing and I do not do it. No, an habit to please God. And those are very fundamental things that I've learned to put in perspective. And let's talk about things that can be more relatable to you. One of the habits also that I've cultivated is actually the habit of consistent learning. And if there's you see, there's something you need to learn as a person, is that you must consistently learn. And as a matter of fact, your confidence level improves and increases when you are a consistent learner. You can never be a consistent learner and be timid and be confident. No, you will always be confident when you learn continuously. And as a matter of fact, the quality of your life also increases when you're a consistent learner. Your ability to earn, your ability to be financially independent, your ability to contribute to people's life, to impact people's life, increases when you are a consistent learner. Consistent. I mean by consistent, I mean by as a regular learner. So it's an habit that you have to cultivate. Before we start talking about the simple things about waking up in the night, diligence. So let me tell you something. You will be diligent when you are. Diligence is actually diligence. For example, does not doing anything. What does he want to be diligent about? You are diligent when you are driven. And what makes you driven? What makes you a person that is driven is when you already have internal substance. Like Oti Jankunu, you have the information, you have the things that you want to pass out to people, you have a skill that you want to sell, you have something, you have education, you have intellectual ability that you want to push out. Those are the things that makes you diligent. Those are the things that makes you push out beyond yourself, right? So consistent learning must be an habit for you. If there's anything you must cultivate this year, apart from your spiritual habit, is ability to learn often and consistently learn. You have to cultivate that. And this also talks about your ability to go and get books, get teachings and tapes. And one thing I love about the convener, the host of my host this morning, is this consistent learning. As a matter of fact, it pushes me to learn more too. Because my work sometimes doesn't allow me to read a lot of books these days. But seeing Pastor John, seeing the things he does, I mean to have to learn them. When I talk to him and he's telling me he read this book, I say, me too, I just go back to all those my books again. And it's an habit, consistent learning. And those are the habits I've learned to cultivate. And if there's anything I've also learned to do of recent, is actually eating well. Eating well. It is habitual for many of us to eat very unhealthy meal. Very unhealthy meal. I've learned that eating well helps me. It helps me not in a small way. Before, when I do a little work like this, I'm already tired. And I found that because I get tired is because there are no enough nutrition in my body. So I had to learn it as an habit to eat well. I had to learn as an habit to take multivitamins. Yes, it has become an habit for me now. And I learned it when I recovered from my sickness. So and now let me say this. One of the things you can also learn, look at your life at this moment. Look at the things that you require to become what that God has destined you to be. And what are the things you need to do on a daily basis to become those things? And those are the things you need to make an habit. Make it an habit. The things that is required of you to achieve the things that you have put your mind to achieve, the things that God has placed before you, make it an habit, and it's going to work out for you.
Good. I said thank you so much. I have so many questions that I think if I keep on asking, because of course you are part of the people that I always enjoy listening to. So, but just to round up, because I forgot to mention when we started that I have 3 questions. Of course, I've been asking personal questions, but I have 3 questions that may not necessarily be related to what we are discussing, but it's somehow related, but that I will ask after this particular set of questions. But let me ask the last question concerning the growth blueprints. I believe that as a result of a conversation today, a lot of people now have a blueprint for their personal growth, professional growth, and spiritual growth in 2024. Now, my question is, a lot of Nigerians turn to faith for strength. A lot of Nigerians turn to their faith, irrespective of what their faith is. So I want you to tell us, you've mentioned it, but I want it to be on my part that I ask that question before somebody will say, how did you invite pastor to come and talk here? I did not ask anything about spirituality. All right. So I want you to talk about how does your spiritual practice help your emotional well-being, help your health, help your mental health, help you to, is there any relationship? Do you find solace in your faith at all? Because the reason why I want you to speak about this question is that some people have been going to their faith for strength and they are not seeing profitable solutions. So I don't know, maybe you could really talk about it briefly about how you as a person have been doing yours, right? And you are getting results. And what are those things that you think, despite people are going to their faith for strength and solace, how is this faith of theirs? And of course, we'll definitely focus on Christianity, right? How is this faith of theirs not producing the expected result that's supposed to produce? Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Wow, that is a very wise question, Pastor John. And you see, we must understand that the entirety of our life is actually built on our faith. Yes. And as a matter of fact, everybody has faith in something. Even some that claim, I am not so religious, there is somewhere that their faith lies. Faith cannot be abstract in a man. It is not possible. Some their faith is. Do you know that atheism is also faith?
Hmm.
I have faith that God doesn't. That there's no God. Faith is actually the core of life. Faith in ourselves, faith in other people, faith in the things we do not see, faith in the things we have not come in contact with. And this is actually what defines our lives. And if you are not a believer, if you are not a Christian, let me say this to you.
Hmm.
There is a vacuum in the heart of every man on this earth that has not accepted the Lordship of Jesus, and except you want to deny it. We have
Hmm.
tried many ways to cover it with a whole lot of things. Some use science, some have used education, some have used marriage, some have used entertainment and fun to cover that gap. But that gap is always there.
Hmm.
Where our hearts search for more. And this is actually a space that is given for God only to fill. Let me tell you today, the only man that can fill that gap is the man that came 2,000 years ago, and he
Hmm.
made himself a sacrifice so that you can have access to God. And he said that except by me, nobody can actually have access to God, and that is Jesus. He's the only one that can fill that vacuum, that can fill that emptiness. Emptiness is a vacuum. Now, listen to this. In all the search of man to fill this vacuum, no person, no religion has ever been able to provide a solution to it apart from Christianity. Because Christianity is not just a religion of abstract faith, it's a religion of personal faith. That a
Hmm.
man came and he impersonified everything that we are looking for. He said that I'm the bread of life. If you are hungry for more, I am the bread of life. If you are hungry for more for life, I'm the bread of life. He said, I'm
Hmm.
the living water. If you are thirsty for the things that has been lost, is the one that can fill the thirst. And that is
Hmm.
Jesus Christ. Now, Pastor John, to go to your question, how do I go back to my
Hmm.
faith for strength? Jesus, for me, is a source of all things.
Hmm.
Listen, there are times at the moment I worked from January to December last year with no break. As I begun this year, my body was already feeling tired. Talking to a friend, I said, guy, I'm already tired. He said, tired of what exactly? Of the year that we just begun?
Started.
You can't say
Hmm.
tired. But honestly speaking, I'm already feeling tired starting the year. And where would I find the strength? I'll surely go back down to where my strength actually comes from. Now, people know that when I'm working, I love to pray worship when I'm working. When I'm working, because sometimes I can work 16 hours. 2 days ago, I worked for 14 hours. Yesterday, I didn't even open my laptop at all. Because if I opened my laptop at all, maybe I would have fainted or something. And I actually gained the strength is that I play music. I'll just play worship. Just play
Hmm.
worship and saturate the atmosphere with worship. And as I do that, I gain strength. I tap from the infinite strength of God. For one thing, I know that Bible says that the strength of God never fails. So if I subscribe to that strength, I can never be tired. And
Hmm.
that is actually how, that is my own philosophy, my own theology about finding my strength in God.
Hmm.
Another thing is when I am tired, when I am wearied, when I am um, when I am dissatisfied, the Holy Spirit is my comforter.
Hmm.
So I go to him and say, guy, I'm just tired. I'm just weary. Can you comfort my heart? And the Holy Spirit does just that. So you see, our faith is actually the symbolism of our comfort. If you find your faith in Jesus, if you find your faith in the person of Jesus, you would always go and run to him for comfort. You know, there's another illustration I give when I am asked to talk about this. Is what the psalmist says in the book of Psalms. Is it Psalms 42 now? That says, as the heart part after water broke, so my heart pants after you.
Hmm.
If you understand how the deer actually part after the water broke, you understand what the psalmist meant. This is what he
Hmm.
meant. When a gazelle wakes up in the morning, the first thing that comes to his mind is that I need to run faster than the fastest lion so that I will not perish. When a lion wakes up in the morning, the first thing that comes to his mind is that I need to run faster than the fastest gazelle, which is a deer, so that I will not starve. So it is a war between survival. So the gazelle needed to run and seek solace and seek safety if it's going to live. So the gazelle is a smelling animal. A deer smells. It has a smell. So lion has already integrated in its mind the smell of a gazelle. So the moment a lion sees a gazelle or smells it, it can smell it from miles afar. When it smells it, it starts running towards it. The moment a gazelle sees it, it starts looking for water, because when a gazelle enters into the water, immediately the smell evaporates. That water helps the gazelle to subdue the smell. It helps it to let go of all the smells. So a gazelle, a deer or hart, or whatever you want to call it, enters into the water. The moment it enters the water, the lion cannot smell it again. Therefore, he survives. The test of a deer for the water is actually the test for survival. That the moment there's no water in the surrounding for a deer, that deer stands a chance of not seeing the next day. Because he has no place it can hide its smell. It can hide its stinkiness. But the psalmist says, as the deep pants after the water brook, so is my heart yearning for you, Lord. Meaning that you, God, you are my system for survival. You are my system for survival. That's what the psalmist is saying here. And this is the reality for every man today. God is your system for survival. Without God, you cannot survive. And this is why I run into God every moment for solace. I run to him. The scripture says, for the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous can run into the name of the Lord, then he's saved. So I run into Jesus so I can find strength, so I can find survival, so I can find comfort, so I can find ability, so I can find inspiration, so I can find excellence, so I can find wisdom, so I can find all things. Another wisdom I learned is that God's wisdom is infinite. It is ageless and timeless. My own wisdom is just less than 30 years. So I need to go to the one that knows the end from the beginning and tap from his wisdom. So I go to him every day from the word of God so I can tap from his infinite wisdom. And it works for me. This is the medium in which we find our strength. Our strength comes when we find solace in him. He is the one that can never fail in strength. Oh, and his name is Jesus, man. Yeah, his name is Jesus. You can run to him and you can be so sure that you are safe. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and he saves.
I thank you so much. I am really happy that you spoke extensively about the person of Jesus. And of course, everyone that must have listened to me a time and again and listened to this podcast, you know that is our banner here. All right. Everything, whether professionally, whether personally, and of course, spiritually, right? Jesus is our watchword, right? Is the person we believe in. Once again, you are speaking to Pastor Tolase Afolabi. I think I will allow my my media person to give me that presentation again so that she will know him very well. And of course, when he comes back, we would, after this short break, we would ask him the last three questions, right? And then he's going to tell us where we can get his book, all right? Where we can get his book. But let's quickly look into or watch this particular
Today, we are honored to welcome
introduction
Pastor Tolase
about him
Afolabi
again.
to Life Clinic Podcast Interview Series 2024. Pastor Tolase is not just a man of God, he embodies a vibrant spirit, characterized by a special grace for organization, excellence, and growth. His remarkable track record of God-inspired results stands as a testament to the profound blessing of consistent advancement in his life. As the lead pastor of the Light Tribe, Pastor Tolase guides a fast-growing community of thoughtful leaders, graced individuals, and world changers. His teachings are a blend of simplicity and profound instruction, reflecting his deep connection with divine wisdom. The weightiness of the divine anointing upon his life is undeniable, making him a beacon of inspiration for those seeking spiritual, professional and personal growth. Tolase Afolabi, as he is known on social media, at Tolase Afolabi, also wears the hat of a principal at Quiller Innovations, showcasing his versatility and commitment to making a positive impact in various spheres. Don't forget to explore his insights further in his book, Unleash the Power of Your Inborn Potential. Welcome, Pastor Tolase Afolabi, to Life Clinic Podcast Interview Series.
All right, so thank you so much, Pastor Tolase. Thank you so much for this wonderful time with you. I personally have been blessed. I've been energized. In fact, I will go ahead and go and revamp my goals for the year. All right, I need to put a price tag on my finance, especially. Okay, now, the 3 questions we ask all of our guests, irrespective of whatever they are talking about, is the first one. Drum roll, please. Okay, so the first one is, if there was an avenue for you to meet your 7-year-old self, what would you say to him? Over to you. If you are to meet your 7-year-old self and advise him, I wanted to say him or her. We should not be confused. If you were to advise your 7-year-old self, what would you say to him? Over to you.
Okay, I would say make sure you are born again before 10. That's my advice to my 7-year-old self. I would say, lad, make sure you are born again before 10. You know, I made a commitment to Jesus when I was 16. And that was a huge opportunity that I have, you know, and I believe that is actually the foundation for everything I do today. So if I'm going to advise my 7-year-old self, I'll tell him, make sure you meet God earlier than I did. I wish I'd met God when I was 10. You know, I wish I'd, you know, encounter God as a child, not as a teenager. Some mistakes I made in my early teenage life, I would not have made them. You know, by this time, I'll be way better. You know, if there's anything I will also tell him is, guy, make sure you are prompt at the instruction of God early in life. There are things I wish I could have done earlier, but it's not too late anyways, but I wish I could have done them. Because you see, timing is very important in destiny. Timing is very important in destiny. I told you my story that I had to backdate it. I mean, I had to have a lapse of 4 years for me to come into the fulfillment of the things that God has told me to do. So I would have told him, I would have said, lad, make sure that you believe God early and obey the things he has told you to do. So just as I said, Pastor John, I said that number 1, I would have told him to ensure that you are born again before 10. Number 2, I would have told him to ensure that if there's anything that God has told you to do, make sure you start to do them as early as possible. Those are the 2 major regrets I think I have. Well, it's not a regret anyway, because there's no regret in God. But that would be my advice. I know I would be way better if I was born again as a child. Yeah, I think I'll be way better if I had obeyed God when He told me to do the things I'm doing today.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I can see why you are even communicating. It seemed emotional, and that's the impression we really want to push. Now, you have been my book recommendator. I don't know if there is any English like that. If there is recommendation, then there should be recommendator. All right. So the second question is, what book or film? Please, I just wish it is. I don't know. For people that have asked, they've not been a film person. They will just say, I don't watch film. Why would you watch film now? All right. So, but I know you are so huge on books. I mean, this year we still spoke about books that, and I was, when you were even talking about the books, I was writing it down that no, boy, you must get this particular book, right? So I don't know what are books or films or podcasts that you will advise anybody to get this year?
Whew, okay, anybody to get this here. No, let me categorize this based on age. If you're a teenager here,
Okay.
go and get the book Discovering Your Destiny by Bob Gass. Discovering Your Destiny by Bob Gass. Bobgass. If you're a young adult here, or I mean, if you are a university student and you are still in the university, go and get a book, the book The Assignment by Mike Murdock. Number one, I said if you're a teenager here, go and get the book Discovering Your Destiny by Bob Gass. If you're a young adult, go and get the book The Assignment, Volume 1, 2, 3 by Mike Murdock, Dr. Mike Murdock. If you are done with campus and you are going for NYSC, or you are go and get the book Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Johnson Spencer Johnson. Who Moved My Cheese? Go and get it. It's going to help you to prepare for change. Some of you are so reliant on your parents' income, but that is going to cease after now. They start expecting you to drop some token. So go and read the book. Who Moved My Cheese? It's actually a book that helps people to prepare for change and its management. Then another book, if you're going to talk on a general basis, if there's any book you must get on a general basis, for your general life this year, well, I would say that there's not really a general book. I said that your book is actually meant to meet a need that you have at the moment.
Sure.
Read need to me. That's one thing that pushes you to actually read better. If there's a need that you want to meet, if there's a simple book I've recommended for one or two persons this year, is a book, The Parable of Dollars by Dr. Samadiyemi. The Parable of Dollars. I think you can have a copy of that book. You should read it this year. It's going to help you for your financial growth. It's going to help you really, 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 really great. And then let me just say this last book. I'm talking about, those are the books I've read that has really impacted my life positively. And then there's another book I'm going to recommend for you. Is a book on your faith. And that is Believer's Authority by Andrew Womack. I believe that book is an all-encompassing book. Believer's Authority by Andrew Womack. Those are the books I've read. I've read several books, but these are books I read in the past that have really put color in my life. They have, decorated me. So I believe they're going to help you likewise.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. This is a wonderful resource that I believe our audience are going to feast on. And the last question, oh boy, the last question is, if you had the opportunity to meet anyone, either dead or alive, who will that person be, and what will you say to that person?
Okay.
Over to you, sir.
If I'm going to meet anyone, either dead or alive, that person is going to be Dr. Mike Murdock. Yeah. If there's anybody I want to meet in my lifetime, is still alive, it's Dr. Mike Murdock. And I don't want to meet him in a conference. I want to meet him and sit and have conversation with him. And the question I'm going to ask him is, sir, beyond the books, beyond the teaching, beyond all of these things, what is your greatest revelation of God? And that's what I want to know. What is greater revelation of God is? Because I see a man that against all odds became all that God has destined him to become. And it's not normal to do that. It's not ordinary to do that. It takes a lot for somebody with an experience that Dr. Mike Murdoch has been through to later become all that God had destined him to be, it was a lot. I would just ask him, what is your greatest revelation of God? That's what I want to know. Are you with me, PJ? Because this man, I don't know
Yeah.
if you are one of the if you are listening to us and you don't know about Dr. Mike Murdoch, go check about
Mm,
him. He's the wisest
mm,
man I know.
mm,
His books are instructions. They are not just for reading, they are for impartation, they are
mm,
for empowerment, they are for wisdom. And is the president of Wisdom Center in the United States. And he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot of experience. I just want to ask him, what is your greatest revelation? What has kept you in the midst of all the difficulty and you have come out triumphant and as empowered as this? That's all I want to ask him.
mm,
Yes, sir.
mm, Thank you so much. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Oh boy, I mean this is a wonderful production with you, sir. And I once again I want to really appreciate you for these answers. And I know these questions are unprepared, and I think I'll even henceforth be making it unprepared because I mean the answers are really genuine and down to earth. Thank you so much for this, and I really believe a lot of people will have so much to learn from this. To learn from this. Thank you once again, Pastor Tolase Afolabi. Thank you so much. Thank you to Light Strive for releasing your pastor to us at Life Clinic. Thank you so much. Okay, Pastor Tolase, I want you finally to give your um final notes, final advice, and specifically, I want you to talk to about where people can reach out to you. All right, talk about your church location so that if anybody is listening from the surroundings, and also social media, because I know you push the church messages on social media, and most especially your books. So where people can download it from. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, where people can download it from. I really want you to talk about that. Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Thank you very much, sir. My last, okay, let me just talk. Let me start as I started. What will be my last word of advice to somebody here? As you go into 2024, desire to know God more. Because you see, Pastor Joe, you can testify today. What we have today is because of the knowledge of God we have.
True.
I'm telling you
True.
honestly. Our life would have been like a shadow if you have
Mm,
not caught God. There's a place that a man will catch him.
mm,
You can catch him. You can find him. And that's a
mm,
place, a dedication you have to make that this year. My love for God,
mm.
my love for God will be on the high.
Yes.
You need to be intentional and be hungry for God this year, like never before. Like
Mm,
never before. Like never before. In fact, your life depends on it. Your destiny depends. Your 20, 40, 50 years, your peace when you have your children, your peace when the economy is disturbing you, your peace when you travel to a foreign land and things are not working there, your peace relies on your knowledge of God.
mm,
That'll be my greatest advice for you in the year 2024. Find God, find His knowledge. So, if you're going to reach me on any platform, I am available on social media at Tolase Afolabi on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, Tolase Afolabi, on LinkedIn, Tolase Afolabi, any of the platforms, social media platforms, I am Tolase Afolabi on it. And how my name is spelled, Tolase Afolabi. You know, I know. I would like you to connect with me. Let us get a talk. And they want to get our messages. We are also available. Our messages are actually available on Telegram at Light Tribe Media. Light Tribe Media on Telegram. Light Tribe Media. So You can also go down to my Instagram. You're going to see how to access our messages on this Light Tribe Media on Telegram. And of course, we are also putting our best that this year our podcast is going to be available right on Spotify. You can also download our messages on Spotify this year, beginning from this year. Go and listen to our messages. Get yourself soaked and empowered by them. And our church is located in Ibadan at Soka Junction. For those that are around New Garage, Challenge, Toll Gates, Iwo Road, Academy, Boluwaji, and the areas like that, you're going to miss our church right at Soka Junction, Live Gates Event Center, Soka Junction in Ibadan. That's where we are. And of course, if you go to our social media too, you're going to see where we are. And on Instagram, we are at Light Tribe Global. Also on X, which is Twitter, and other platforms at Light Tribe Global. So connect with us, and I'm sure that a lot, you're going to see a whole lot of change and positive impartation of the Spirit in your life. God bless you. And my book currently, I authored the book, but currently it's on revise. We're revising it. Because we are out of stock. None of our hard copies are available again. We want to get more to reprint, but we think to revise it before reprint. And by 1st of March, it's going to be available for resale.
All right. So I want to thank Pastor Tolase Afolabi for this wonderful time. Thank you so much, sir. We enjoyed your presence. We enjoy your communication of faith. We enjoy the instructions you've given to us. And this is Life Clinic, brethren. I believe you've been imparted. I believe you've been blessed. So watch out for the next episode, right? Watch out for the next guest. This is interview series. And we were going to be doing this bi-weekly. And we'll be inviting different guests, pastors, business people, professionals, talking about personal growth, professional growth, spiritual growth, relationship, and everything. Just our message, our emphasis is growth, all around growth. Thank you so much. I want you to please invite someone, subscribe, share this particular video, and bless someone's life. This is a new year gift to somebody, getting his or her growth blueprint for the year 2024. Your growth blueprint for the year 2024. I can't but say thank you to every one of you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching this video. And I pray God Almighty will bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Until next time, see you again. My name is Olafisoye John E. Gay. Have a good new year. All right. God bless you all in Jesus' name.
Today, we are honored to welcome Pastor Tolase Afolabi to Life Clinic Podcast Interview Series 2024. Pastor Tolase is not just a man of God, he embodies a vibrant spirit, characterized by a special grace for organization, excellence, and growth. His remarkable track record of God-inspired results stands as a testament to the profound blessing of consistent advancement in his life. As the lead pastor of the Light Tribe, Pastor Tolase guides a fast-growing community of thoughtful leaders, graced individuals, and world changers. His teachings are a blend of simplicity and profound instruction, reflecting his deep connection with divine wisdom. The weightiness of the divine anointing upon his life is undeniable, making him a beacon of inspiration for those seeking spiritual, professional and personal growth. Tolase Afolabi, as he is known on social media, at Tolase Afolabi, also wears the hat of a principal at Quiller Innovations, showcasing his versatility and commitment to making a positive impact in various spheres. Don't forget to explore his insights further in his book, Unleash the Power of Your Inborn Potential. Welcome, Pastor Tolase Afolabi, to Life Clinic Podcast Interview Series.